We're not in the studio. It's quarantine and everything, but we're here on Zoom. We're to chop it up. And today what we're going to get into is everybody talks about Brennan Eagles, Jake Smith, George Whittington, all these obvious breakout players for the next 2020 season. But we're going to go one level below them, the people that you aren't really thinking about but have the potential to make that next step. And there's quite a few of them. There's a tier that we went through together, and I think we found about like 10 guys that have a really good shot at making noise quicker than you'd expect. Yeah. So we could get right into it. Trevor, Matt, got anything before we hop into it?
Yeah. Well, for one, we kind of changed the format of our Zoom. If you saw our latest episode, we did more of like a one camera setup with no backgrounds. This time we're doing the 3 camera setup so you can see all of us at once. I have a background. Madrid is Bevo, and then Myers is unable to do a background with his computer. But let us know what visually y'all are into, and we will try to please y'all visually in that regard.
Yeah, just let us know what
looks good. What do you want to see? But yeah, outside of that, I say let's just hop right into the video and start talking under the radar guys.
Yes, sir. Good stuff. So we'll start off from the top. This guy, he really impressed because last year he's a true freshman, Chris Adamora. He played out of necessity early last year. I mean, you think back to the Oklahoma State game in particular, everybody went down, all secondary got hurt, and Adamora was in making plays. I think he prevented a touchdown on there was a pass, and he skied for the ball and deflected it. Receiver was wide open, but Adamora played the ball. He did it against Utah as well. He just has a great ability to he's got great instincts when the ball's in the air, and more so than anybody else on our team besides maybe Stearns from what I've noticed so far. And he played in all 13 games last year, which I was kind of shocked at. He played a lot in special teams and made plays. He had 10 tackles. So Adamora is a 4-star guy who made a lot of noise as a true freshman. And it's impressive because all these talented guys we have in our secondary, I know there was a lot of injuries, but still, I think when next season starts up, you'll see him in the mix for a starting job. I mean, Tom Herman just had high praise for him the other day in his press conference, and I think it's going to be hard to keep Adamora off the field at this rate because he's proven to be really good and just a good athlete and really instinctual. So yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you got it.
No, I was just gonna add real quick that I like that he really got. I mean, out of necessity, like got reps this year. I think that was really important. So I think that's a good reason why he'll break out as well.
Where do you see him fitting in the rotation?
See, I think he's more of a tweener. But we have a lot of guys like that can play like nickelback or I guess Joker's not a thing anymore without Orlando. But I liked him at safety, honestly. Like when he was playing deep against Utah, he made some good plays. Made good plays against Oklahoma State. He had a good play against West Virginia too, I think. So I don't know really. He's kind of just been like a Swiss Army knife from what I've seen of him. I haven't seen enough to really put him in a certain box, but I think the thing about him is just he's versatile. But he's more of a ball hawk from what I've seen. So maybe just try to get him on the back end next to Stearns. Then you have Foster there or Chris Brown. It's just you have a surplus of riches at the secondary at Texas. So it's up in the air. I really don't know.
Okay, but you don't see him being like a starter, correct? I mean, well, maybe potentially down as the season goes and as potential injuries roll in, maybe at that point. But off the top of your head, you're not projecting him to be like a out of the gate.
No, I don't know because you got Stearns and Foster and Chris Brown who all have to be on the field pretty much. You can't bench any of those guys. And that's going to be pretty much your nickelback and your 2 safeties, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got your corners, which will be definitely Deshaun Jameson, and Jalen Green. I don't know if Adamora can play any corner, but it's just hard. It's just only like there's only so many spots in the secondary. So I don't know. He might have to wait till next year to start, but he'll definitely be getting reps. And like probably second series, third series come in and just supplement all of our starters for sure.
Gotcha. I do agree, though, by the way. I do think he's definitely an under-the-radar guy. I was very impressed with his Alamo Bowl performance against Utah.
Yeah, he looked great.
He has a fantastic breakup play. I forgot who it was that he broke up, but I was very impressed by it.
Yeah, me too.
So, definitely a guy.
Think I'm up next, right?
Yep. It's all you.
All right. First guy I got is senior D lineman, Marquez Bimich. All right. This guy he played a lot of interior a lot last year, from what I remember. And I think this year, if there is a season, he works out more on the edge, which I think he's a little bit better at. We got a little out of the guys that I have as my sleepers. He's the one with the most experience. He had his best game against Tech. It was 1 sack, tackle for loss, a forced fumble, and a recovery. So I mean that's always good news. He's active on the field. It sucks that we don't get to see him in spring, so we can't really see how he looks on the new defense. But I expect he'll be on the edge. He's going to be a solid contributor for sure. And I guess, would you guys say that we have a lot of competition on the D line?
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty deep.
Yeah. See, that's why I think he's a little more of a deep sleeper, because I feel like he would have made more noise by now. But I think he can honestly contribute a lot this year. And if I could just share one story about Marquez Bimich. Hold on 1 second. Let me just there we go. Look over me.
There he is,
that man.
Our first guest.
My roommate William had a class with him, and he would always come back from class to tell me how massive this man was and how scary looking he was. And it got to a point where he was like, dude, I can't stop looking at his thighs, man. His thighs are as big as my chest. He's making me really uncomfortable when I sit next to him. And I was like, stop looking at his thighs. He's like, I can't. They're just so big, man. And I was like, oh my God. I don't know. I don't want to get caught around this man's thighs. So I don't know. Maybe he puts those thighs to good use this year. So that's that man, Marquez Bimich.
Down in the trenches.
No, yeah, Matt, Marquez Bimich, I believe it, because he's like one of the strongest guys on the team. I think he is the strongest player on. Like he squats well over 700 pounds. So yeah, I mean,
wasn't he in that club with Yancey McKnight last offseason? It was like I think you just said the 700 club or something.
Yeah.
Some thighs,
he's
crazy. I mean, he played well. In my recollection, I think it was the Texas Tech game.
Yeah, it was the Tech game.
He finally broke out and played pretty well off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the best game.
I remember he was in 2018. He started to pop off a lot. I remember against TCU in 2018, he had made huge plays. He forced a fumble, had some good tackles, and I think he got hurt that game, and it really just stunted his growth. So he missed the rest of the year pretty much. Yeah, I think that's how it went. But anyways, yeah. So he kind of got thrown back in his development. It's kind of had to restart. But hopefully, man, this year I've been really impressed.
Me too.
He does. He flashes a lot. So if he can put it all together for his senior year, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Same.
And where would he be on the line? Do you think? He's not really a rusher. He's more of a guy in the middle with Coburn, right?
No, he's on the. He'll be on the edge.
Yeah.
Oh, he is an edge.
I think he'll be on the edge, but he played a lot of interior from what I remember, from what I was looking at. What I remember from this past year.
Well, yeah, maybe with Chris Ash's new scheme, he might be playing interior. I mean, he's definitely got the strength to do it.
Yeah.
But I've seen him more productive at D end, and I think you leave the middle for Coburn and Sweat, whoever it's going to be. I don't know. We'll see with after we don't really know what the front's going to look like.
Same.
Yeah. Anything else on Bimage and his big thighs?
I hope I get to see him.
See him making a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Cool. So my first under the radar guy that I have is I don't know if he's really under the radar anymore, but for a while he definitely was. Josh Moore, the receiver. He formerly was a slot receiver. He played a little bit his freshman year, I think about half the season, and then got injured, where he came off the bench behind LJ. Made a few plays. Like I pulled up his stats earlier, and I have them up right now, actually. And he really didn't have all that many receptions, which is funny because I remember him pretty vividly. Maybe just because he had that really great touchdown grab.
I was about to say, you're remembering that TD score.
Yeah. And really outside of that TD, I mean, he had a few catches, but I think it was only like literally 7 receptions total on the 2018 season.
Yeah, exactly.
But for some reason, he stood out a lot more than that to me. Dude's obviously super fast, pretty good hands from all that I can tell. 6'1", is kind of built to be a slot guy, definitely with his speed. But I believe that they're moving him to I had it written down earlier. I believe it was either X or Z. Do any of y'all know? I had it already up. His position. Let me try to find it real quick. Josh Moore. Oh wait, no, what was it?
He's I had it up. There we go.
I believe. Here we go. Yeah, Z. It was Z.
Yeah.
Yeah. So projected to start on that side, which is a receiver that at least in the previous offenses, I feel like we didn't really target too much of. But I think with this guy's speed and size and it being another target for Sam to look for, I do believe that he definitely has the potential to really pop off. Just a guy with a lot of talent, coming back with hopefully a vengeance from what I hope after being suspended for, I think it was weapon possession or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was something dumb. I'm sure he has something to prove this year. I mean, no one wants to lose a year like that. So I'm hoping he comes back ready to go.
Yeah, gun carrying charge. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds to that. But I mean, if I remember, his play his freshman year so well, even though he only had like less than 10 catches on the season, I think that alone says a lot. Any thoughts, Myers? Josh Moore?
No, yeah. Josh Moore is the guy that you hear he tore it up on scout team last year. He was playing scout team because he was suspended, so they didn't want to take any meaningful reps, but he still tore it up. And he's going to be experienced now. He's going to be essentially a junior. Literally a junior. And I don't know. He's just highly rated out of high school. He's got good footwork, and I don't know. He's just I really hope we can move him to the outside because he's kind of lanky. I know he's skinny, but he's got some length.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we'll transition well to the outside. That way we can keep the middle, the slot focused on Jake Smith and Whittington,
right?
Just so we can get talent on the field at once. Because on the outside we're a little bit more thin behind Brendan Eagles. So I'm hoping. Man, I'm hearing great things about him. I mean, as long as this court, I don't even think he's clear from the case yet. So it's kind of uncertain. But man, he's got a lot of potential.
I think he just got cleared actually. I think like a month or two ago. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But
I heard it was trending in the direction, but nothing's been definitive from what I've seen.
Yeah. Well, with the current depth chart that I have up, continue.
They expect him back, so yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. So the Z position is not under. Brendan Eagles would play X. So he'd be on the field. Ideally, in the ideal lineup would be Eagles, Smith, or Whittington, and then Moore. And then what it's looking like is it's actually going to be Moore versus Matt Madrid's favorite guy, Washington, who he's going to talk about later. So it looks like those two are going to actually be battling out for a spot, while Woodard is going to battle with not Epps, Eagles. So should be interesting.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see. The receivers are really the biggest question mark on the team right now, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of talent, but a lot of unproven talent.
Exactly.
So,
all right. So I'll go up with the next player, Moro Ojomo from Katy, Texas, by way of Nigeria.
Where'd he go?
All right.
What did you do with Matt?
The man's huge.
Right. Moro Ojomo is a freaking tank. I mean, he's the type of guy you want first off the bus. He looks like he's literally a 35-year-old NFL veteran. And he was kind of a victim of Todd Orlando's three-man front system, which was hurting recruits in the D-line because you just couldn't get these good players on the field together. I mean, you have Graham, Osai, and Coburn, and then it was just hard to get more D-linemen on the field together.
Yeah, rotate him like that,
Yeah, exactly. Ojomo, I think he'll be primed to be the starter next to Coburn. That'll be such a good dynamic duo.
Big guys with the beef.
Yeah. And, I mean, he had 13 tackles this year, 2.5 tackles for losses. He's just really I mean, Tom Herman even said in his press conference this week or last week that Moro Ojomo is super underrated. So, I mean, I'm guessing Chris Ash and Herman are really liking what they're seeing out of him recently, and I'm projecting him to start alongside Coburn. But I mean, you got Tavondre Sweat in the mix. You also got Taquan Graham lurking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's going to be at D tackle next to Coburn, but I think it should be Ojomo. And I'm just really whenever we signed the 2018 class, I was more excited for Ojomo than I was for Keandre Coburn. So I'm really optimistic about what I can be.
Why is that?
And I don't know, man. I liked his film at Katy. He was a late bloomer. He got a lot of offers late in his senior year, and he's kind of under the radar. So it's fitting that he's on this episode. But I don't know. Really, the way he looks and the way he plays, he's got a tenacity about him. He just looks like a star to me, and he's got the names. I don't know. I just
Ojomo's dope.
Yeah, I don't know. He just seems iconic, and I think from what we've heard from Herman, I think he's primed to take that next step.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah, I like that one too. All right.
The D line's looking good, boys. The D line's getting deep.
I like that deepness.
Wish we could say the same about linebacker.
Yeah, I know. All right. Next up, we got this man right here looking over me
with the weak stash.
Did the weak stash? Yeah, the stash is like I don't know what's going on. But Jared Wiley, if you haven't noticed already, sophomore tight end. What really stands out to me about this guy is he's 255, 6'7". So like it's like borderline. Like maybe you should be a lineman. I don't know. He's just really big for a pass catcher. But right now he's behind Cade, but I feel like he can get more run this year. We saw in the last spring game he was running with the twos, but he didn't really do as much as we thought he would do. He didn't see his first catch this year. He didn't get his first catch this year until he got to the Tech game, so there's not a lot of tape on him college-wise. Herman likes Reese too, but I think Reese is more Reese and Cade are definitely more of the run blocking tight ends in my opinion. They're a little more stout, a little more stronger. But I think this year if we're gonna focus more on the passing game with Yursich, he can really be a threat down the middle. He has that length, he has that upside to really like stretch the defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on the field more often. Yurcich has a great track record of developing some tight ends. I don't know if you guys remember Blake Jarwin from Oklahoma State. Plays with the Cowboys now. He's got a new contract. Same type of body type, really. They're tall, lanky guys that can move around well. So I'm really looking forward to him. I think he could probably, well, hopefully, if he gets on the field, a good addition.
Yeah, absolutely. I am very curious to see how. Yeah, like I remember watching him in the spring game and like being really excited to see him last spring. Not this year. Obviously, we didn't have a spring game.
It's hard to miss. It's huge.
Yeah, and being really excited about him, but I never really saw him. At least up to this point, I've never really saw him pop, even though I definitely know he has the potential to. So I'm curious to see his
project. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see kind of what his playing style becomes, like what he becomes known for. Because right now, I haven't really seen anything yet. Granted, he hasn't had too many opportunities, but
yeah,
I'll be interested.
What makes him so curious to me is that a lot of guys his size, just looking at like the NFL wise, like his type of like those type of tight ends that are tall and stocky like that, is they turn into wideouts, which is kind of weird. So I would be interested if maybe we do see him line up, and maybe in some sets, some special occasions. But he is really unique. He's like a unicorn of tight ends. So
yeah,
there's the possibility to pop off like that.
I wonder if Go ahead, Myers.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, Jared Wiley, you would think he'd be a unicorn type guy that could flex out like Malcolm Epps kind of did, just because he's long and not necessarily super thick right now. But if you watch him in the Alamo Bowl, he was blocking like a good tight end. So I think his blocking is really underrated. And I think Tom Herman even said this past week in this press conference that Jared Wiley will be an NFL player one day. So, I mean, that's high praise.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's in him. So, I mean, I think he's just going to get even better. I don't think he's going to have to flex out. I think he's a good blocker. He's good enough at blocking to stay inside, which is huge. I mean, we saw what Andrew Beck did for our offense 2 years ago as a blocker. So,
yeah. I mean, my last point that I was going to mention is it made me wonder, like, if he has the potential of, by the time his time at Texas is through, that he would switch over to defense.
Like
I don't even know what he'd play.
Maybe probably like a down line, like a rusher or something like that, like an edge rusher.
No, like a, I don't know. I have not a clue.
Put him at linebacker, bro. I think he can.
A middle linebacker.
Maybe the biggest middle linebacker of all time.
You got to throw over him.
Yeah.
Jump up every play. I don't know. That was just kind of a random thought that popped in my head, but yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm interested to see how he progresses and what kind of style he takes on. Now that you did mention it, Myers, about his run blocking, he did have really good blocking, especially in that Alamo Bowl game. Now that I'm recalling the film. Cool.
Yeah.
So my second guy that I have up is a guy whose name we actually heard a lot. So some people might not even say that this guy's really under the radar, but I would say that he is based on the position that he's in and the talent that he has to compete with, and that is Roschon Johnson, Mr. Slime himself. So Roschon obviously came in as a quarterback. Mr. Slime. That should be his name. Anyway.
I like it.
I think so he came in as a quarterback, obviously, had to quickly convert over to running back with the not lack of depth that we had, but the amount of injuries that we had early on in the season of last year, and really kind of got a name for himself. I think everyone was pretty impressed with not only how he transitioned the position so easily, but just his aggressive style, his running ability. I think his vision was actually pretty damn good, especially considering that he hadn't ever played running back, at least that I'm aware of up to that point. even though he was a quarterback and was mobile and moved around, he wasn't doing running back type things. And from a nationwide perspective, I know a lot of people were high on him. I remember Joel Klatt just, praising him the entire time with some of the stuff that he was saying. And even, one of that guy, north of the Red River on YouTube, who shall not be named, that has another talk show. I know that he's very high on Rashawn Johnson. So a lot of people are pretty high on this guy. Obviously, a high character guy from everything that we've heard. Love the energy and passion that he brings onto the field. And just, I'm very interested to see, like, now that he has an entire offseason to truly take to this position and actually develop. And I'm curious to see, I'm assuming he's going to put on more muscle and weight in the weight room with Yancey McKnight if this season actually turns out the way that we hope it does. So just seeing him continue to progress as a running back in that position, modify his body to that position, and just more time, I really do think this guy has the potential to be, maybe not a starter at Texas, but maybe a starter at Texas. The only thing that it has going against him, which is why I say that he's under the radar, is you got Bijan coming in, and then you have as well as Keontae. What's up, Myers? You're laughing away.
Jared Wiley in the background.
You can't take it seriously.
I'll give you a break.
There we go.
It's like 4 set of eyes just looking at you over here, bro.
Right.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Finish that.
No, it's all right. I was pretty much done. But, yeah, being under the radar just in that regard, that, he's got these two monsters ahead of him. It's going to be interesting seeing what Keontae does this season. Yeah. Dude definitely has a lot of talent, a lot of experience. We expect that he's the clear starter and has the potential of being like a top running back in the Big 12, but he's had ups and downs and hasn't seemed to like really hit a consistent stride and progression. And then Bijan, of course, is loads of talent. We're all pumped to have him on the team, but then again, he's a freshman, and I don't know. It's very interesting. And then final point, since I've talked about Rashawn for a long time now, I'm interested to see him in this new, well, not new, but in Yurisic's offense. I've heard a lot of people saying like, hey, after everyone watching the Saints with our good friend Taysom Hill, who loves to play Texas, if with what the Saints were doing with Hill, if Bijan would play that type of a role as well, being that he has the ability to definitely throw, but his running ability and size, being that he definitely isn't like a short guy or anything like that, that might make him an interesting candidate for Texas looking to do some type of Wildcat style plays, or I don't even know if he'd call I wouldn't even call Taysom Hill a Wildcat.
No, that's not really
but
Wildcat.
Still, you get what I mean.
Creative ways, yeah. You could definitely use Roshan like that for sure.
Right.
Just to get creative with him. Yeah, he's a utility guy.
Right.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
I was surprised that Roshan did not throw a pass last year.
So I'm saying dumb. Too.
Well, didn't he try? Didn't he throw like a? I think he might have threw like a pass that either got. No. I'm thinking of Sam throwing a pass back to Rashawn that went way over his head, but no, he didn't.
It's weird. Yeah, I definitely see you could see him as a utility guy and just get creative with him because like that. There's so much talent in the backfield now. Knock on wood, they're all healthy. Like you got to get. He's proved that he can stay on the field and do things. So might as well just get creative with him.
Yeah. What do you think, Myers, about Rashawn?
I love Roshan. He was kind of the spirit of our team in a lot of the games. I mean, against LSU, we were dead in the water, and he came in off the bench. I'll never forget this. And he's kind of like lifted the whole spirit of the team up by just running like a maniac, even though he's a quarterback who played running back for like 2 playing against the national champions, just running wild. So that was really cool. And then he's just clearly a blue, like a Longhorn, just like he's an orange blood. He loves the University of Texas. And he plays like it. You can see the energy whenever he gets the ball. I like when we played him at Wildcat a little bit. He looked really good there. I like him in short-yardage situations too. I mean, he's just a bruiser. He's not afraid to lower his head and go like jump or whatever it takes to get the first down. He'll do it. So yeah, I love Roshan. I think he should have been starting a lot against over Keontae last year at most of the year. He should have been starting over him. I'm against OU. Roshan, literally, we were dead in the water, couldn't do anything. Then Roshan had that.
It was our offense,
run
that whole game.
Give us life just back in that game. So yeah, I mean, it happened all too often that a freshman quarterback playing running back was there bailing us out, giving our team life. So I think you got to honor that and just play him as much as you can and use him as much as you can because he's got a special aura about him on the football field that not many players have.
Yeah, definitely, without question. Cool.
All right, so I'll go next. This guy, Christian Jones. We've heard a lot of great things about Christian Jones over the last 2 years. He was a late addition to the 2018 class, a late bloomer. He played soccer growing up.
Oh, wow.
He just started playing football.
Really?
He started playing football as a junior in high school, so he's kind of like learning football still till this day. Like he's still not by any means a finished product. But like you heard great things about him back in the Georgia bowl practices, and he played all 13 games last year. Most of them were on PAT or field goals, but still. And we have an opening at the right side of the line now, specifically right tackle. And it's going to come down to either Christian Jones or Tyler Johnson, and I think it's going to be Christian Jones. And I just think that not only is he going to be a under the radar breakout guy that is going to pop off, but I think like we need him to we need a good tackle to emerge, and I think he's definitely the best candidate for that. And you just see this guy on campus walking around. I mean, I remember seeing Connor Williams around campus. You're like, that dude's an NFL player for sure. You see Sam Cosmi, you get that same vibe, and then you see freaking Christian Jones walking around. You're like, dude, this guy's on stilts. This guy, he's gonna be special. And I know a lot of the O-linemen look huge, but like there's dudes that look different, and like he's one of them. So,
just look, I know what you mean.
So I'm hoping he can take that step. We've been waiting for it. We've heard great things about him out of practices on the scout team. So hopefully he can start at right tackle and just get it going and become our next star.
Need it,
Yeah. You did not mention Okafor, who, since our last recording, sounds like he's going to stay at the University of Texas. Do you see him at guard? Right guard?
I like him more on the interior. He can play both. He's versatile, but I think he's way better at right guard. And that just gets more experience. I mean, at that point, you have just literally everybody starting on the O-line would be like have experience in some capacity, and they'd all be upperclassmen or sophomores, redshirt sophomores. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's the best scenario. You put Christian Jones at right tackle and Okafor at right guard, because I really value experience, especially on O-line. So Tyler Johnson is the main competition at right tackle from what we've heard, but he still is going to be a redshirt freshman. So I would defer to Christian Jones and just see what he can do. I think he's going to be a great player here.
Same.
Like it.
I like that. All right. Last, but absolutely not least for me, we got the sophomore wide receiver,
your man,
Marcus Washington. Let's give him some love real quick. Oops.
Oh, whoa. You and
give him some love. He's right there.
Stopped. There you go.
There's that man.
That was so confusing. Like You and Myers like swapped screens when you swapped that thing on. So I was expecting to see Marcus Washington there, but all of a sudden
You got Myers.
I'm like, whoa.
Don't sleep on Myers, man. This guy does a breakout here. No, but someone has to step up, take Duvernay and Johnson's production. To be honest with you, I don't have the fullest faith that Eagles and Epps can hold it down all season. I honestly think we've said this 1,000 times, but the wide receiver position is going to be kind of fluid this year. You're going to see a lot of guys getting reps. But I think Washington, all it takes for Washington, though, is him to have, like, one electric, like, high upside, like, type of game where he just pops off. I was looking at his high school tape just to get more of a look at him. And he's a slim guy, but, like, he moves very decisively. I don't know how to explain that, but he moves and cuts very well. And, so I think all the receivers are on a short leash this year. And outside of the guys that are starting, I think it's anyone's game. And I'm confident that he'll get more playing time this year. I will say, though, that Avante Woodard and Josh Moore give me a little pause now that I'm thinking about it, because they kind of share that kind of upside. But I don't know what I saw from the few catches this man made. I really like the way he plays, and yeah, I think he's a sleeper type guy. That guy.
What catches in particular?
I think it was the last game of the season.
The Tech game?
Tech
Utah.
game. Yeah, it's Tech. Yeah, he caught some kind of, like, it wasn't a wide receiver screen. I think it was like short hitch, but he had two blockers and, like, receivers in front of him. I think he would have caught the ball, obviously, but I don't know. He caught the ball, and when he turned around, he turned upfield immediately, and he made a cut, and then, like, he lowered his shoulder and got, like, 2 more extra yards. And I don't know. When I see something like that, at least it just shows a guy that just, like, proves that he wants to be out there and he's not afraid to just take it. So that's what I'm really excited about him.
Yeah, Matt, you just unlocked that memory in my brain. He did make a really special play against Tech. He didn't break it or anything, but he showed so much ability to, like, just maneuver so effortlessly. And he's just a natural, talented wide receiver with great upside. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back and find that play. I might post.
I couldn't find that play. So if you can find it, find it. But he looked like he wanted it. Like, he was mature. He wanted it, and he wanted to show, like, he could, even the most simplest play. But you can read into it how you like. But I promise to you, you watch that play and you're like, wow, I think this guy really wants it. This guy wants to prove something. So.
Didn't he make a few big plays against Iowa State too? I know Eagles had a big game that game. I felt like he showed up there, or it was one other game.
Yeah, he has stats from one other game.
Because that's when you started talking about him.
Yeah,
you were high on him before the Tech game. I know that.
Yeah, let me see real quick.
I remember Avante Woodard flashed during Iowa State.
It might have been him.
Maybe it was him. Yeah.
I just want to see real quick, because he didn't play. I mean, obviously, he didn't play a lot. Yeah, he didn't. He only has last year. Only had 2 passes against La Tech, 1 catch against Rice, and then 1 catch against West Virginia and Tech. So he wasn't on the field a lot. But I'm telling you, you watch that one Tech play, and it's a guy that looks like he's been playing for 3 years already. So
yeah,
that's what I really like about him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, cool. All right, last guy for me is another tight end, the likely starting tight end, and that is Cade Brewer. Cade Brewer going into his, it's technically his 4th year of playing, so his senior year, but I believe his sophomore year he was hurt or he didn't play at all because of injury. Cade Brewer was a guy that came in, initially recruited as a big wide receiver out of Lake Travis. Very good hands, very good awareness, pretty high football IQ. Comes from a football family. I believe that I gotta look this up, and I'm 99% sure it's true, but I think his brother is Charlie Brewer. meaning that his dad, in that long list of
You mean
family members,
Yeah, hold on. I gotta know that.
I'm pretty sure his brother is Charlie Brewer. I think he's a part of that historic Brewer family that all went to UT and played quarterback.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not, because they're both from Lake Travis and they're both named Brewer. And they both play football. I'm 99% sure, but look that up. I'll continue on, though. But the dude has great hands, great football IQ, and definitely has kind of turned into a good run blocker. I initially was hesitant, actually, to put Brewer on this list, being that the tight end position is more of a run blocking, kind of a glorious halfback in a way, in Tom Herman's offense. But with Yurcich coming in, I do think that he's going to get the tight ends a lot more involved, especially with, like you said, Blake Jarwin as someone to look at that Yurcich was able to coach up in effect. I do think that the guy has the potential to have a pretty big season. I mean, I definitely, his freshman year, saw a lot of big flashes of Brewer, especially like in that USC game. The first time around when we were at USC, when he made that big catch in, I think it's the first overtime, and I was like, oh, wow. That was a big catch to make for, someone starting in, I think, his third game, or not starting, but playing in his third game in overtime, at USC. And then he's continued to make other nice plays. Nothing amazing, but again, I think just the Yurcich offense is something that makes me feel like this guy has the potential to have a pretty big breakout, especially considering that, like we've said throughout this video, our receivers, while they're very talented, it's a lot of unproven talent. And Cade Brewer is definitely a pretty reliable guy in terms of catching the ball in hands. Plus, him and Sam are pretty close. I'm wondering if it'll be like a security blanket, per se, for Sam Ellinger in his senior year. So, yeah.
You were right about the family thing, though.
I was. So it is his brother.
Yeah, it is his brother. Yeah. His dad played for Texas, too, Robert Brewer.
Yeah, and then his granddad and his uncle. Yeah, there's a long
that was the MVP of the 82 Cotton Bowl. It was a walk-on. Respect right there.
Yeah. Myers, you got
let me add one to Cade Brewer. Yeah, I mean, he was poised to just be like our next great tight end. As a freshman in 2017, he really made some great plays against USC, OU.
Oh, yeah, the OU.
Hold on. Yeah, and
he jumped up.
Yeah, I mean, he got you heard all that, dude. He got hurt his freshman year, and he had to miss the whole. I think he tore his ACL or something, and that Marquez Bimage just kind of set him back on his development. So he kind of had to restart, and he started showing flashes again just last year. But I mean, we'll just see, man. We'll see if he can get there. I mean, we have a lot of tight ends now. Jared Wiley and Reese Lato.
Yeah, I know.
Braden Linebaugh, Cade Brewer now. It's all we don't know what's going to happen to tight end. A lot of bodies in that room, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I definitely. I mean, I'm not in the program, so I don't really know, but it wouldn't shock me if Brewer became a captain, being that, going into his senior year and he's got a fair amount of experience under his belt. And I feel like if you're close with Sam, you're likely going to become a captain. I mean, I see him and probably Kerstetter or Cosme also being captains on the offensive side of the ball. So just
I can see that.
Quick guess. But yeah, I'm curious to see. I would like to see him being a lot more utilized instead of just blocking all the time. But then again, we got so much tight end depth. It'll be interesting to see how. And we might even see 2 tight end personnel, kind of like what the Dallas Cowboys do a lot. But maybe not. I don't know. A lot of question marks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And no spring, so this makes this 10 times harder.
Yeah.
So, shoot from the hip.
Alrighty. All right, so I'll wrap it up here with this guy. He's not really a.
You can see crotch, dude.
You see his
right,
Matt's eyebrow.
That was,
Get a different
that was
picture.
Juwan. That was Juwan.
That was Jerome Mitchell. Yeah, yeah, I recognize that.
Notice that crotch from anywhere.
We got to get back in the studio. This is not getting it done. But yeah, Juwan Mitchell is a guy who I don't even know if he should be considered under the radar because he was just you could see that he was so talented last year. I mean, he played in I think it was 10 games, had like 40 tackles, a few sacks, and he's just like your prototypical Big 12 linebacker. I mean, he's not super huge, but he's stout and he runs and hits. He runs sideline to sideline, which is what you need in the Big 12. It's like it kind of has the Gary Johnson vibe to him. The JUCO guy. But with Juwan Mitchell, the main concern is just his head, like between the ears, because he entered the portal like a couple months ago. Herman talked him into staying because if he would have left, man, our linebacker situation, which is already barren,
been tough.
So yeah, I mean, we can pretty much, assuming that Mitchell stays like, I don't know, just doesn't make the coaches mad or anything or disobey the coaches. He'll be the starter at middle linebacker over Delhi, I would imagine. And it's really not a talent issue with him. And we need him to be good because our linebackers are so thin. And I'm trusting that Herman and our staff can really just get the most out of them and get them to buy in. And just because we really have no other options. I mean, because then we're down at Delhi. Delhi Adeoye gets a lot of hate, but I think he's doing pretty well. I mean, people say that he's not like playable, but I mean, I thought he's definitely serviceable. And
I was serviceable, but Juwan's probably better.
Yeah, Juwan's definitely more of a star.
All around.
So
Delhi got a lot of turnovers though. Like he forced, I think, a couple fumbles, and I think he maybe even got 2 interceptions. I know he definitely got 1 interception on the season, maybe 2. So I do like that he's a turnover creator. But yeah, Juwan definitely has, I would say, a lot more speed than Delhi.
He's I remember against West Virginia, Juwan Mitchell, go watch like the first few plays of West Virginia game. You'll just see Juwan Mitchell just like get in the backfield so quickly and he's just really instinctual, very athletic, he'll hit too. I mean, he played good against Rice. I think he had a few good plays against LSU. Especially the Rice game. Go back and watch some of the Rice game. You'll just see him. He just knows how to pressure the quarterback and just he knows how to identify where the holes and where the running backs are going to go and knows how to fill those holes quickly. So, I mean, I'm really hoping this guy can take that step because, I mean, he was number 1 JUCO linebacker in his class. He reclassified so we could get here early. Thankfully, he didn't transfer out. So, I mean, fingers crossed that he can become that dude. But I think he's got a lot of potential, and I'm sure we all saw it. I mean, it's no secret that he's talented. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, no question.
I like him too.
Sweet. So that wraps up all of the players that we have under the radar. I mean, there's definitely some more players like Tyler Johnson. I mean, I can't even think right now, but there's quite a few players like in this tier that might take that step forward this next year. So comment if you think that we're leaving anybody out. Maybe we'll address it. But yeah, I mean, Trevor, Matt, y'all got anything?
Just thanks for sticking with us through this weird Zoom time, and I hope we'll be in the studio soon. And subscribe if you haven't, and like or dislike, whatever you like. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, let us know in the comments kind of what you would like to see. We're definitely open for content ideas, as it looks like this off season might be a little bit longer than we thought it was going to be. And then again, let us know kind of what you think about the Zoom format. Do you prefer this look that we have right now with all of us on screen, or do you kind of like the solo camera that we did last time around? And do you like the backgrounds or no backgrounds? And all that. Just let us know.
Let us know.
We're flexible. We're open to change.
Definitely.
But yeah, we'll continue to give you all the content that you deserve and that we all need right now as we power through this kind of dull time. You know?
Yeah.
All right.
See you guys next time.
See you guys. Take care.
Welcome.
Welcome, baby.